Hey there, welcome back to JSNOOBCRAZE. I am Rohit, and in today's video we are diving into the exciting world of React Native. If you are interested in building powerful and dynamic mobile apps for both iOS and Android without having to write separate code bases, then you are in the right place. So let's get started with our introduction to React Native. First thing first, let's talk about what React Native is. React Native is an open source framework developed by Facebook that allow you to build mobile application using the same fundamental building blocks as React, which is a popular JavaScript library for building user interfaces. The unique thing about React Native is that it lets you write code in JavaScript and render native components on both iOS and Android platform. This means you can build a single code base that works on multiple platforms. Why should you consider using React Native for your mobile app development? Well, there are several compelling reasons. First, it speeds up the development process significantly. With React Native, you can reuse a large portion of your code across platforms, which translates to faster development cycles and reduce maintenance overhead. Second, React Native provides a real native performance experience. The components you build using React Native are not web-based like in some other cross-platform frameworks. Instead, they render as true native components, giving your users a smooth and responsive app. Let's take a look at some key features that make React Native a fantastic choice for app development. One of the standout features is hot reloading. This allows you to see the changes you make to your code in real time without needing to rebuild your entire app. This feature alone can save you a ton of time and frustration. Another great feature is the ability to use native modules. If you need to integrate device specific functionality that isn't available out of the box in React Native, you can write native modules in languages like Java or Objective-C and then seamlessly use them in your JavaScript code. Alright, now that you are intrigued, let's talk about how to get started with React Native. The first thing you will need is a development environment. You can set up React Native on Windows, macOS or Linux, and you will need Node.js and the React Native CLI installed. So as I have added a sticky note with some of the steps that we need to go. Let's start with first go to React Native docs. Let's see what is React Native docs. React Native. Here you can see reactnative.dev site. You can go to that site and then get started. Here you can check that there are two ways in which you can create your application. One is Expo Go Quick Start and the other one is React Native CLI Quick Start. As a developer, we usually go with the React Native CLI Quick Start because it gives us more free hand to create an application instead of Expo Go Start. So let's see how React Native CLI Quick Start. Since I am on Mac OS, so I will look out into Mac OS steps up, but if you are in Windows, you have to just go and you can install first Node.js as your development environment. Node.js download, just go to the download Node.js. Here you can download the Node.js as per your system. I already have Node.js. And how can you check that is go to your terminal and just wait, node -v. So it will tell you that your node version currently this, and in your, if you are in Windows, you have to go to your CMD and write the same command node -v. If it is not installed, then it will say that not recognized, node command is not recognized, else it will show you the current version of your node. And next step as we go, let's see, you should have Java in your system. So if you don't have, then just go Java download. Here download Java for Windows or the Java for Mac, anything. Download Java, click on this and download the Java. I think it is already present in your system, so no need for that. But if it is not present in your system, then in terminal you can check how Java -v version. Okay, create the Java virtual machine. Okay, minus version. Okay, here you can see the OpenJDK version. If Java is not installed in your system, then it will show Java is not recognized as a command. Here we have Node installed, and the next thing is, as you go, you have to download and install the Android Studio. Just click on that. It will take you to the official site of Android Studio. Just click on this and download it and install the setup. Here you can see the steps. If you are already installed, hypercomd, and you will see screen something like this, and I can show you how it will look. Android Studio. Okay, so welcome to Android Studio. Here you will get all the projects that you have in your system or you have initially opened before. You can go to that and SDK manager. So this is one of the stuff that you may need. So SDK platforms, you can download the SDK. Like in my system, Android SDK sources for Android is already installed. If you want something else, just click on that and click on apply. It will get installed in your system. And other thing is SDK tools. These are some of the stuffs that we need during the making of the application. So you can go and download that also. And SDK update site, this will basically show all the sites information from where the updation is done. So this is something. And one more thing is create virtual device manager. In virtual device manager, it allows you to create the device. You just go like I already have two devices in my system, Pixel 2 API and Pixel 3a. This is basically emulator that in which your application is going to run. You have to click on create device and then select the category, phone, tablet, VR, TV, automotive. Click on phone, click on next, and then click on finish. After finishing, a new emulator will be created. That's it. And Android Studio, after downloading the Android Studio, you just need to edit your environment variable. So in Mac it is not like that. So just go to your change my environment variables. You can click on Windows and then environment variables. Here you can edit your user environment variable. Just add the link, and that's it for Windows part. And for macOS part, you just need to go and install first brew install node, brew install watchman, then Java development kit with brew tap homebrew and all other stuff. Install Android Studio like we have done in Windows section. Install the Android Studio. Here you can see we have to install this image or Google API system images that you have seen in our Android Studio, and then configure the Android home environment. Add the following line to your .z profile. So what is that .z profile? It is basically a file in your system. So if you click on this echo, so permission denied. Okay, so permission is denied. I need to open that in a terminal. You can just go and if you are then .bash profile config file, just paste this code in your .z profile file I already had in my system, and then create a new application, React, and install. First you need to uninstall the React Native community if you already had, and simple, just create the project. If you go through the React Native docs, it is like a bible for you for the initial development environment. There are other ways also, but you should go with that, the React Native documentation only. So go to React Native docs, done, and then Node.js you had installed, Android Studio you had installed. And now if you are in Mac, you need to have an Xcode. So go to your app store and then click on Xcode. Here you can download the Xcode. If you are not in Mac computer, then you will not find the Xcode, because Xcode basically create or build application for the iOS users, and iOS is basically different from the simple Android system making build and other stuff. So without Mac you cannot create the iOS build, but in Mac you can create the iOS build as well as the Android build. Here, after installing all this stuff, so you can Xcode, you can download, and then it will take some around, according to your internet speed, around 2 to 3 hours, because it is quite a big file, 7.6 GB. And then just click on next, and at last finish, and it will open something like this, Xcode. Okay. So it is opening, 1 minute. Okay, till it is opening, we can go to the next step. So other things that you can download, it is not compulsory, but you can have is, one is the Git. So what is Git? Git is basically allow you to store your code in servers of GitHub. So GitHub, you can create your repo here and add your repository name, anything that you want, and description, and then just create the repository. So you can share your code or anything else. So you can have the Git. If you are new to the GitHub, you can use the Git GUI also. Git GUI download. So here you can Git GUI clients. Here you can download the Git GUI also. And the next thing we may need is the editor. So I usually prefer VS Code editor. VS Code download, you can go and download the Visual Studio Code. Here download, click on download. I will add the link of all the downloads in the description section. You can go and check it out. And I can show you how VS Code looks. So as you open, after installing VS Code, you will have something like this in your system. You can go to file and open and select any file that you want to open in your system. Like if I want to open in this GTX Imagine, click on open, and it will, I accidentally opened the same folder. Go to your projects, go to your freelance, rank token, open. So here you will get all the files in the system, and it is quite easy to use. And it also provides you extensions, which in future I will tell you what are the extensions that you may need for the VS Code, which is quite useful and make your work easy. So here comes the Visual Studio Code and then Node Version Manager. So as we know, many Node, let's check what is NVM. And Node Version Manager. So basically NVM is a version manager for Node.js designed to be installed per user and invoked per shell. So many of the projects may need different Node versions to work. Like some of the projects need 16 version, some of the project need 18 version. So it is quite complicated to install different versions in your system. So we use NVM. So we use NVM Node Version Manager, which basically allow you to install different versions in your same system. So the projects which need 18 version, first you can use npm, okay, 1 minute, nvm list, it will show all the versions that you have installed in your system, and just go and use nvm, use and write the versions that you want in your system to work. Like if I want 18.12.0, just click on this, and now my system using Node version 18.12.0. If I want to nvm use, again change the version, then if you want to see whether it is using or not, just do nvm list, and here it will show in green, like version 18.12.0 is currently installed in your system. And now I will again go to the older version 16.18.0. Okay, so how you can download this, just go to nvm downloads, and nvm for windows download. For windows you can go to this and download the nvm. For mac, how to install and configure mac, just go to that site, it will tell you, just go to this brew install nvm. So what is brew? So in order to install brew, you need to have the brew install. This is basically for the mac part only. So you should have the homebrew in your system, which is basically a manager that allow you to download the different packages and other stuff in your system. So just copy this part and paste in your system and click on enter. It will download the homebrew in your system. I already have homebrew, so I'm not doing it again. Simple. And other thing is the rvm. So as we know about the nvm node version manager, rvm do the same stuff. rvm basically, rvm is the ruby version manager. For mac ios build, we need a ruby version. So how you can download for different, just go to that, install rvm, and then click and then enter this command, and you will have the rvm version. You can also download using brew. rvm download in mac, install rvm in macOS step by step. You can go to that link, brew install gen upg, and then install gpg keys, install rvm. You can download like this, put all terminal, and then rvm list. I will add this link also in my description box. So here we go. These are some of the stuff that we need while starting with the React Native part. Okay, let's start with creating our first project. Okay, so let's start by creating our first React Native application. So go to your Finder, go to your folder, projects, create a new folder. Let's name it as test or something else. Open it, open your VS Code. Two things you can do: you can just go and drop this folder like here, or you can also open, click on the projects, test, and then click on the open part. So here we go, VS Code. So you can open the terminal by just this command J terminal, and then go to your React Native doc. Since we have done all this part, now we are ready to create our application. Click on this and click on this, React Native @latest init. Let's name it as awesome project only, and click on enter. Okay, so we will add some of the stuff like need to install the following packages React Natives. Click on yes, and it will start installing all the packages. We have to wait a little bit because it will install some of the stuffs, a lot of stuff. As I have added a cut in between because it was taking time. So if everything gets installed successfully, it will look something like this: downloading template, copying template, processing, installing CocoaPads. This part is done only in the Mac part, I think. So everything is okay. So let's change our directory to awesome project. Oh, this is nothing matters. Awesome project. As you can see here, you have a package.json file with initial setup like React with version 18.2.0. React Native is 0.72.3, and there is some initial stuffs. Here you can see our app.tsx file. So what is TSX? TSX is basically TypeScript. So let's look what TypeScript is. TypeScript, JavaScript with syntax. Okay, what is TypeScript? TypeScript add additional syntax to JavaScript to support tighter integration with your editor. TypeScript code can convert to JavaScript which runs anywhere JavaScript runs, safety at scale. So basically, while development, there is a problem with JavaScript as it takes everything. Like if we want to send number, if we want our function to receive a number, but if we send string also, then also the function will not say that this is wrong. So TypeScript is basically adding a stricter version to the JavaScript code, as you have to give types for everything that you want to include in the function. Like if I want a function const abc is equal to there should be a value and it should return a value. So as you can see, it is giving error because we have not added any type. If I type as value as number, then I know that every time I want to call abc, then I need to send number 10. If I try to send number string, then it will say argument of type string is not assignable to parameter of type number. So half of the problems is tackled while development only. Initially React Native was in JavaScript, but now they shifted to the TypeScript version only. So let's save it like this and create, and as you can go in your package.json file, here you can see the script version. So initially, in order to start the server, just yarn start, and then server has been started. Let's go to there and first create our React Native run Android. Click on it, press enter. Here you can see it is launching the emulator for that. If everything is good, like all build is fine, then it will show something like this. Here comes the emulator. This emulator is basically the Android emulator that we have installed earlier. So it is launching the emulator. We have to wait a little bit. No, it is launching. It is doing some initial setup. Pixel is starting. This will happen when you added new emulator. Okay. So emulator is opened on this. Let's start again. Control C, npx React Native Run Android. JS server already running. It is taking, actually it is, again I created the new emulator, that's why it is taking that much time. In your system also it will take some time. With that, let's also start our iOS server. If you are in Mac, you just need to write npx React Native Run iOS. Let's wait for some time. Found Xcode workspace. Installing the app. Here you can see app is starting install in our, okay, here comes the emulator for our iOS system. Here is our iOS. Here is our Android. Let's open it parallelly and check how it looks in both the emulators. 66% done. If there is any build error, then it will show here only like some package is not installed or anything else, or your code breaks. Since it is the new application, so I don't think that should be we should get any error. Let's see. Building the app, 100% configuring. Okay, building the app. Initially it will take some time because it will download some stuffs, but next time if you press the same command, then it will build fast as compared to first time. So let's wait, 100% configuring. Okay, since it is building, I can show you the different stuff. Here is the Android. This is the Android folder which is responsible for creating our Android build. This is our iOS folder. This is our node modules that get installed with our package manager. And here is the git ignore file, which ignores, like, we don't want node modules to be installed in our GitHub, so we add node modules to our git ignore file like that, dot node modules, and save it like this. It will ignore that file if, and then here is the prettier file. This is basically for the TypeScript version only, so that every system will take same structure for our code. And this is the watchman file. This is the app.json file. This is basically the naming that we want our application to be. And if you want to change the name, you can change the name here. Display name is basically the application name. App.tsx is our entry point. Index.js is our entry point of our application. It will, as you can see, app registry, register component, app. Here comes our component, and that's it. tsconfig file is the initial configurations. You can give other configurations also if you want. You can go and check out the TypeScript config documentation. Here you can add different configuration if you want. No implicitly and preserve constant, source map true, and other stuff. And yarn.loc is basically the yarn. So what is yarn? Let's see. Yarn. Here you can see it is also a package manager that allow you to install different third-party packages. Third-party packages like npm dude, node package manager. So here we go. 22% is done. It is building, and nothing more. Okay, so as we can see, the build has been done, has been created successfully. So it will look something like this in your application. Yeah. Let me. Okay, so let's change some of this stuff. Let's change to this. And okay, let's go. This, learn more links, we don't want that. The first thing as a coder, we do text hello world. Here we go. Hello world. Now you are a coder. Okay, so hello world has been printed, built, created successfully. iOS taking some time. No problem. And there you have it, a quick introduction to React Native. This framework is a game changer for mobile app development, offering a powerful combination of speed, performance, and cross-platform compatibility. In our next video, we will start creating our first project, an e-commerce application. As best way to learn is to develop. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you won't miss it. Thanks for watching and happy coding.